Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com.
Welcome back to the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I'm joined, as always, with John Coates. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing excellent, Chris. I'm ready to get back into the regular series of X-Men after our little detour last week.
Back on at issue 109. You can't stop me, X-Men. Weapon Alpha always gets his man. Weapon Alpha. So right off the bat, I've got a question. So, what is this character's official name? Is it Weapon Alpha? Is it Captain Canuck? Is it the Guardian?
Oh, well, that's a great question. When he first shows up here, it's Weapon Alpha,
right?
But later, when Alpha Flight gets going, does it start as the Guardian, and then he switches also to Vindicator. Captain Canuck is a different comic company.
Oh, entirely. Is it a different? That's a different. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he's not Captain Canuck.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Yeah. I mean, Captain Canuck might predate this guy.
Yeah.
But
similar design, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're Canadian, they're going to have the maple leaf on them.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's got to also be kind of hard to draw too.
Well, it does, but that was a point that I was going to get to at some point here. I feel like this is like the weakest design you could possibly have for a character. It's just a guy in a suit. Like if the silhouette of this design is just a guy,
Yeah.
I mean, cool half maple leaf on his chest and stuff, but like I feel like maybe after Byrne got hazed coming in, having to draw all of that, all of those space characters that had like insane designs that Cockrum dumped on him. Like he was probably after that going, I am not designing anything crazy for this one. I need a break. And Weapon Alpha was born.
Yeah, good call. Maybe he had like the maple leaf like on his forehead.
Yeah.
So it stands up in profile or something.
Right. Something, right. Or just give him a maple leaf shaped head.
Yeah.
Or hands.
Making like an ant or something.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Dave Cockrum cover, right?
Yes.
Does not look Byrne, but I don't see Cockrum the signature on it anywhere.
No, but look at that Colossus head. That is Cockrum all the way.
Yeah. And that Wolverine, like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that is totally.
Yeah, the straight sides, no curve on it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 100% Cockrum cover.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Good cover too, like pops with our Weapon Alpha Guardian guy.
Yeah, it does. In fact, here, look, let me just really quick show the classic cover. Because I mean, I'll talk about the page. We'll talk about the pages in classic later in the episode, but I want to show the cover real quick because usually, Adams would go a little bit over the top and make something crazier and more dynamic. But, this one is actually way simpler and honestly, in my opinion, not as good as the Cockrum cover. It's like almost the same thing of, Wolverine falling backwards and him jumping up here. But, that one is far more dynamic to me anyway, personally speaking.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Cool. Well, let's crack it open. See what happens.
So here we go. John Byrne, Terry Austin on inks. We looked at Iron Fist 15 last week with Dan Green inking John Byrne.
Yes.
And so I think you can tell the difference between the two issues.
Absolutely. Yep. Austin coming in. I think we're gonna start to see an elevation in Byrne's art just from the injection of Austin.
Yeah. And like the beginning page here, it's really interesting. It's kind of they've written the issue, the setup, so that if you didn't read Iron Fist, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because, you know, in X-Men 108, they finished their space battle.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden in Iron Fist 15, it's like they're home and Wolverine is still wearing the alien costume, which you get a glimpse of here.
Yeah.
And they go to Jean's house and have the misunderstanding and the big fight and everything. But now here, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now they're getting home to the mansion like for the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm curious where the Iron Fist story is supposed to exactly fit, because they're getting home for the first time here. Did the party already take place? Did that already go down?
The party already happened.
Okay, because he wants to get out of this suit, and he was wearing that in Iron Fist 15.
Yeah, so Wolverine finally is going to ditch the alien threads, and I mean, I guess it's conceivable they came home from space and then stayed in an apartment or somewhere in the city instead of coming home for a couple of days before coming back to their mansion. But you know, that's just kind of weird. Yeah,
it's kind of odd placing of time. And you know, we've been spoiled with these Cockrum intro splash pages. You can really tell because from an artistic point of view, this is a very dull opening page. It's just them flat lined up, you know.
Right. There's no leprechauns. There's no spaceships. Like none of
there's no angle to it, you know, and there's no depth to it at all, which is kind of, you know, I would you would have gotten at least some sort of depth out of a Cockrum one. So
yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you can tell as we go along, the way Byrne frames his shots and stuff is different than the way Cockrum would do it.
Absolutely.
Like the angles he uses, he's Byrne is much more of a straight on kind of an artist.
Yeah.
I
think I'm going to be harsh on Byrne going forward. I don't know why. I just feel it in my bones already.
Maybe he's got some Dutch angles coming up. We'll see.
Maybe. I'm always one of those people who's like, you know, well, you shouldn't say things about people's work if you can't, you know, if you're not going to do it yourself. Well, darn it, I'm going to do it myself. So I'm going to back myself up here.
Yeah. So here we go. You know, the X-Men, Colossus, my friends, we are home. And the professor with his new lady love alien, you know, telling her not to be nervous.
Oh, yeah.
That, you know, Earth is a cool place. And, of course, Nightcrawler, he teleports in, and Moira's angry at him.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody always gets angry at him when he's teleporting around.
Yeah, because he stinks.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize it, apparently.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and like we said, Wolverine is ready to get out of these dang alien threads.
Yeah.
And so now let's see what the X-Men are up to as they get back to their house. Moira is yelling at Kurt because it scared her. And then Banshee grabs her and starts making out.
Oh, yeah, he just gets up in there. She doesn't even have a chance. She just starts, you know, mumbling because his tongue's down her throat. Second that they walk in the door.
He's full of all that Irish passion.
That's right.
So he can't hold back. And we get some good Storm stuff here. She goes up to her attic, which I always thought it was super cool that she got like the attic in the mansion. It's like, that's like the pimpest room in the whole house. You get this whole thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And as I was reading this, I was like, she's got all these plants here. Like who takes care of these plants while she's gone? And then they address it, which is great.
Yeah, that no one has.
Well, Moira, she says that Moira has been watering them.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Moira has.
And
until
she starts
Moira
talking
leaves.
to the plants. Are they trying to establish that she can like talk to the just to like plant life too now?
No, not like a Swamp Thing kind of way. Like she's not attached to the green.
Sure.
I think it's just her. They're just showing like her compassion for living things.
Got it.
You know?
Yeah, you never know which way it's going to go with this book, you know?
Yeah, it could go that way eventually. And so, yeah, she whips up a rainstorm, gives everybody a drink, and then just takes a shower.
Yeah, she's got to get naked, you know? Like, they just love to let Storm lose her clothes in this book.
Got to keep those sales numbers up, you know?
That's right. And then I think it's kind of cool, too, that we get a chance to, see Jean's parents some more. You know, and they're like a little bit, they're not really developing the characters, but they didn't just like lose them because they've been in like 4 issues at this point, just kind of hanging around. They could have gotten rid of them at any point, you know?
Yeah, they're always, it's like they're there to figure out what's going on with Jean, and then it always gets sidetracked, the story, you know, because they're fighting villains or getting sucked into space or something, but they're still there. Like they didn't go home. So so now we're going to get a little bit of, you know, what's going on with them. And there's all this worry, you know, they're worried about Jean because she seems weird. And then Cyclops, he notices like the Jean, you know, is worried about her parents, and her parents seem to be kind of maybe scared of her. And then she's going to sort of give us our little memory flashback of what happened in our sort of 108.
Yeah.
And it's kind of after the battle here. X-Men with the Imperial Guard. Gladiator with his awesome mohawk. Wolverine just out for the count because he gets knocked out early by that tiny guy.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I love I do like the sort of, you know, every comic is someone's first comic mandate that was put forward for this era, you know, because I know for myself, finding them years later, like under my cousin's, you know, bed in a box or something like that, I could pick one of these up and tell exactly what was going on at any given point. And just having these little flashbacks and stuff, you know, is really helpful for all that.
Yeah, you know, it's probably helpful for Claremont too a little bit because it gives him, okay, I've got basically 1 page worth of panels to concisely summarize exactly what I want someone to know about this previous story.
Right.
And where I'm going to take it, build off of that.
Sure.
So it's kind of a nice little springboard for him as well to get you going. Yeah. And that's what we kind of see here, because now we get this nice explanation that like Lilandra is going to be the Empress, but her brother is technically still alive, but they realize he's just a psycho. So he doesn't get the throne anymore. And then we get our little bit here with Corsair, who is telling Jean that like he doesn't want Cyclops to know that he's his dad.
Right.
That she has to hide sort of his paternity from Scott.
Well, doesn't he? Yeah, he originally he kind of in this thing he kind of wants to tell him, but she says, you know, not to do it, right? Not to tell Cyclops.
No, it's all on him.
Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah, because he's saying, I know what I'm doing. It's better for all concerned if he never learns that I'm his father. And she says,
okay,
you're wrong.
I misread something there. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but you know they leave, and then Aurora overheard, so she knows. And so, Yeah, and so Jean's like, well, I couldn't turn him down, but now like Aurora's like, well, if Scott finds out that you're keeping that from him, you know, what's that going to do to you guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I there's a thing here. It says, I know the horrors that he's lived through, and you didn't see that in the regular run, but she's alluding to what they flash back in one of the classic X-Men issues of him having to work through these mines, right? Because they never really talked about that before this.
They don't show the whole mine thing when he's like trapped and everything.
Yeah.
But in the issue, they just show like one panel where like where we see the Emperor Deken has like killed his wife.
Right.
And then we learned that, you know, that would have been Scott's mother.
Sure. So I guess that's enough.
Yeah, but that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah. In the classic, that we got that good backup story that shows sort of his depression and level of despair, that he either is going to die in the mines or he's going to come out the other end. And then they come back through the Stargate.
Yep.
And that is how our 108 ends. Then the party with Iron Fist, and then they're back at the mansion, and now she's going to finally go talk to her parents. And then Scott he wants to know, hey, you want me to come with you? And she's like, no, I need to do this by myself. And then he kind of like goes and sulks.
Yeah.
You still with me?
Yep, I'm still with you.
Oh, okay. Whew.
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up a little bit. It'll come back.
Yeah, must be one of those earthquakes, West Coast earthquakes.
Haven't had one of those in a couple days.
Oh my gosh, was it an 8.2? So Cyclops, he takes it personally that she wants to talk to her parents alone.
Right. Yeah.
Because now he doesn't know where he stands with her, because it's kind of like because she is all of a sudden super powerful.
Right.
And so now it's like he's got this complex now that like, oh, maybe I'm not up to snuff and she's going to dump me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he has this crazy, and he's got like a little bit of good intuition here about Corsair, and thinks that somehow he knows him, but he doesn't know why he would know him, and he wants to talk to Jean about it.
Right.
And of course he knows him because, you know, it's his dad. And he wasn't that old when, you know, I mean, he was like a kid, but he wasn't like that little of a kid when he got shoved out of the airplane.
Yeah.
And, you know, his dad left. Yeah. And then here we get more of you know, he's looking for his brother, Alex, and Alex has gone to Muir Island. Because they got freed from, because remember, he was mind controlled by Eric the Red. And as it says, between issue 107 and 108, you know, he got freed from the mind control. So now he's back. He went to Muir Island to help fix up Moira's lab.
Right. So they're over there with Multiple Man.
Yeah, Multiple Man, and Lorna Dane, the Polaris, she went as well.
So you can start to see how like the future X Factor kind of team can splinter off from, you know, the main X-Men group at this point. You're starting to kind of see how there are other mutants from the core that are good, and things are taking place elsewhere. You can imagine how things can come together.
Yeah, that's a good point, because right there you got three of the members of of the best X Factor squad, which doesn't happen until the 90s.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Banshee and Moira are going to leave to go do some stuff. Scott's going to have himself some coffee and think about some stuff.
Yep. A coffee and a think. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, you were going to say something, Chris?
No. Just he's just gonna go sulk a little bit.
Yeah. And now we get one of these great little interludes. I love that interlude.
Yeah.
Target marked. Tracking systems locked on. Ooh, it's like, who is this? Who are they coming after?
I'm starting to like this device that Claremont uses of breaking the page with scenes, like scene breaks in pages in the middle of pages or end of pages to punctuate things.
Yeah.
Because he's using it consistently now, it's becoming part of his voice, you know, and I think it works then. It just doesn't work when it's not consistently used, maybe, you know?
Right. If it's just in one issue, you're like, oh, that was weird.
Right.
But if it happens every issue, there's a little break with something that's gonna come up later.
Yeah.
Now you're used to it. You're ready for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a good one where it's like one long panel at the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
And that's all you needed. And now we shift scenes again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now we get this great Nightcrawler stuff where he's basically on the phone getting himself a date.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I gotta say it again. I just love how much Nightcrawler is developing as a character.
Mm-hmm. And that's with Amanda, who's one of those gals that there was Amanda and another one that sort of Nightcrawler and Colossus were kind of had the hots for and were kind of after in an earlier issue.
They ran into him on the streets, right?
Yeah.
Look at Nightcrawler's ceiling too. Do you see the bars on the ceiling?
Yeah. The jungle gym attached to his ceiling.
Yes.
Great detail.
Yeah, it is.
And so he pops on down to see what Colossus is up to. And Colossus is like trying to write a letter home to his farmer parents and trying to describe, I'm sorry I haven't written, but my friends and I were busy saving the universe.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's no good.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
No biggie. No big whoop.
Yeah. And then, so Nightcrawler's saying if he wants to go on a double date with him and Amanda, and Elizabeth is the other gal. And they're going to go see Star Wars.
Yes.
In the theater. Yep. First run.
I mean, come on, you got to go see first run Star Wars.
Yeah, you can't pass that up. So that's great. Great stuff there. And so he teleports again down here to see what Scott is up to. And I like this where like he teleports in and Scott's just behind this chair and like without turning around, he's just like, hey, Nightcrawler.
Yeah, that's a great composition. I love that one. And I love the way that Byrne puts Nightcrawler in the shadows on this page and the previous page, right in the square in the middle where his face is all in black. It's really effective. I like that a lot.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And he's kind of, Scott's down here watching as Jean tells her parents all about her becoming Phoenix. And so she does her little transformation into her cosmic costume. And it definitely like freaks her parents out. You can tell just by their sort of their body language there.
Yeah. Well, look at the framing on that too, where they're in the middle pane together in the first one. So where they're sort of like coming together and having this moment, and then he splits them between the panes as soon as she bursts into the flames, and it's kind of separates them psychologically, you know, as you're looking at it, which I think is super, super great way to tell the story without you know, blatantly saying that it's just another way of saying that there's a separation between them. And it's a weird thing too, is because like they already know that she's a mutant, you know, and if she's telling them, well, I died and I came back from the dead, you know, as parents, wouldn't you be like, oh, sweet, my mutant daughter, who I already knew was a mutant, can't die. So that's great. So thumbs up to you. I wouldn't know if I'd be like, oh, I'm upset about this.
Yeah, that's right. Like you'd probably be kind of happy.
Yeah.
Right? Be like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, you're not dead.
Yeah. Like, oh, you can take care of yourself. Oh, terrific. Okay. And then this is where Scott is just kind of a dick to Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Scott sucks, man.
Yeah, and he throws out this comment like, much as you'd like it otherwise, Nightcrawler, life isn't all swashbuckling adventure and circus stunts.
What a dick.
Like, what a dick thing. And then Nightcrawler's like, oh, I have a name, Scott. It's Kurt Wagner, remember?
Yeah. Calling you Cyclops every 2 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, Nightcrawler, he takes it pretty well. Like, he should just haul off and punch him.
Well, so this is the thing that, like, this got me too about Nightcrawler is this scene that's coming up where he's just sort of like always kind of like the voice of reason and even keel and brings everybody back down to earth when they're freaking out, you know, puts them in their place, but in a kind way.
Yeah. 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 And so, you know, he kind of tries to talk Scott, I don't know, talk some sense into him. You know, he's like, oh, I never had to worry about optic beams. I've only been blue and furry since I was born.
Yeah.
And Scott's all like, oh, you're trying to be funny? And it's like, what? It's like merely making a point. Like, out of the two of you, like, Nightcrawler's got it way worse than you do, Scott.
Yeah, chill out, dude.
Yeah. And then Banshee comes in, you know, top of the morning to you. Seeing if he's coming on the picnic. And so, yeah, so Nightcrawler's going to go on the picnic. Or, well, no, he has to pass because he's got his date to go to.
That's right. He's got a hot date with Star Wars.
Yeah. And then Scott's not going to go to, but he's like, hey, Kurt's just giving me a lot of things to think about. So you guys have a nice time. So maybe Kurt got through to him a little bit.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, I hope so.
He does. He changes his behavior. You see that? He calls him Kurt.
Yep. Andy calls, you know, he was about to say Banshee, but he's like, Sean.
Yeah, you see a little bit of character growth there. You know, he got put in his place.
Yep.
Love Nightcrawler for that.
Yeah, the voice of reason.
Yep.
And so now everybody else is like the four of them. They're getting their basket ready. And wrong Irish, it ain't 4, it's 5. I'm coming along. Oh, here we go. Wolverine back in the yellow costume. Ready to roll. Fat belt.
Yep. You know, doesn't want to hurt his back lifting.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything. There's no pouches or nothing. He's not holding anything in that belt.
That's super weird. But
right?
It's just cool.
Yeah, it just looks cool. So he's like he's a style guy.
we gotta get all the primary colors in there somehow.
And this is where, so right at this point, this is page 15 of the issue. Now it turns into what is kind of the best Wolverine issue so far in X-Men from this point forward, because he's a character who, out of all the new members, has had the least development and gotten the least amount of time to do stuff.
Yeah, he's just been kind of a crank through the whole thing, and he's been kind of one note, you know, like just dickish the whole time, and like that's his character thus far. Now we're going to get a little bit of backstory.
Yep. Yeah. And this is great right here because he's like, I've been out of the woods too long. I'm itching to do some hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And Storm freaks out like, oh, you're going to kill innocent animals just for sport?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so he kind of gives it to her. He's like, well, it's none of your business, but I said I'm hunting. I didn't say anything about killing.
Yes.
That doesn't take any skill. Its skill is sneaking up close enough to a skittish doe to touch her. And that's our first bit of like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something else. This guy's got different layers going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not all about killing things.
Yeah. Yep. And Storm's like, well, I'm sorry, I misjudged you. And he's like, I could care less. You've all been misjudging me since I joined this turkey outfit.
I love that turkey outfit. I love that like jive talk. That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm just noticing too? Is that he's holding his mask under his arm there like it's a helmet. And I've never noticed that he holds it like a helmet. I always thought it was just like a floppy mask like everybody else's.
Yeah, we're going to see all kinds of different interpretations on that because
okay.
There are times where it is drawn to look like it's more of like a helmet he's putting on. And then there are other times where it is definitely
like a ski
mask attached to his costume that he's going to pull over.
Oh, yeah. Like a hood.
Right? And it's back and he's going to pull it over and he's ready to roll. And so this is Byrne. So this is Byrne doing here, showing it like it looks like it's a helmet.
Okay.
But I think there might also be times where Byrne draws it as a mask.
Well, let's pay attention to that. Let's pay attention to that.
Yeah. Because I think Cockrum was always drawing it as just a mask.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever had it like off, like showed it off. I mean, he had it off, but did he actually show it off? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't remember there being like where they're showing it like getting pulled on, you know?
Yeah, I don't
like
recall that either.
On kind of stuff or anything.
Yeah, or just sitting there or anything like that, right?
Yeah. But it's interesting to note, like, okay, he's going to call the X-Men like a turkey outfit, but like he doesn't leave.
No, he doesn't.
You know, like he disses on the team all the time, but he doesn't leave the team. Like he likes it. He likes being there.
Yeah, it's his own psychological way of dealing with the fact that he's there, you know.
Yeah. And so now interlude time.
Oh, yep.
And now we're back to our gloved guy.
Now we are on the Death Star and the Rebel Alliance helmets. Wait a minute. Wrong property.
Yeah. Look at those Star Wars helmets.
Somebody went
Canadian maple leaves.
Somebody went opening night. Burn.
Yeah, right? Uh-huh. Good thing they put those leaves on there, or they might have got sued.
Yeah. Something tells me the copyright was a little bit weird at this time, because just even talking about Star Wars, they talk about Cyclops calls him Colossus calls Nightcrawler a Wookiee at some point.
Yeah.
They spell it wrong. Maybe on purpose, maybe not. Probably not. Probably just hadn't seen the word Wookiee before.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're just going by sound. They're like, this is probably what they spell it like. And we get here's our cover figure in the shadows here.
Mm-hmm.
Super distinct, as you pointed out. And we get the mention of will be on top of Weapon X before he knows what's hit him.
Weapon X. Is this the first time they've said Weapon X, or is this the second time?
That's what I was going to ask you, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
In giant size X-Men, when they are recruiting the Wolverine from Department H in Canada, do they call him Weapon X?
I think they did. I think they did call him Weapon X in giant size. Because I remember you calling something out that will be a part of his story far later in the future, and I believe it was Weapon X. We'll have to take a look at that, and maybe I can pop it up on the screen whether we're right about that or not.
Okay, yeah, because I know they either in Giant Size or it's issues later. They definitely mention Alpha Flight.
Yes, but no, this was.
Somebody
I'm
does.
pretty sure that was it. Then I'm making a note.
Okay, I mean, I've got my I could reach over to this box right here, but we're not going to. We're going to check it later.
Yeah, we're gonna check it later.
And everybody else can check theirs later. So if it isn't, then this might be the first time, or it's one of the first times where they're using that term Weapon
Right.
X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I assume it's, if it is, it's because, they're naming the guy coming after him Weapon Alpha.
Right.
So now if you kind of give them similar names, now it's like they're part of the same government program, make these connections there. And oh yeah, okay. I thought I was missing a page or something, but okay, here we go. It's go time. Wolverine out here, ready to slowly sneak up on this deer and touch it.
He's been hunting it for hours, stalking it for hours.
This is also a nice little bit, like really starting to dig into his sort of tracking and sort of animal instincts kind of skill set, because like they mention it like once before, but we don't like get to visually see it in action in any meaningful way yet until here.
Yeah, right before Thunderbird blows up, they talk about it.
Yeah. But now we get to see like, oh, he is really good in the woods here. And then here comes Weapon Alpha, just out of the ground, or
is he out of the ground? Is that what's happening here?
I mean, it kind of looks like maybe he's just like flying in super low and then just like, coming up at
kicking
the
up
end.
Dirt. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But we got a nice skatham.
Yes.
To knock him back. And of course, Wolverine knows him. He's like, you.
Yeah. And a very wonky Wolverine face there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a weird angle to like get a head drawn,
It's a weird angle. It is a weird angle. I've noticed that Byrne isn't great at weird angles. Cockrum was amazing at weird angles. He is not the greatest at weird angles. Byrne is better at other things, but not weird angles.
Yeah. I mean, I give him props for like trying.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
here,
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, yeah. And we get right away, recognize me, Weapon X, James McDonald Hudson, at your service.
James McDonald Hudson.
Gives him the full name.
Yeah, Woo! It's like when I'm really mad at somebody, I'm like, do you know who I am? Christopher Dwayne Anderson.
And they go, oh, damn.
And then they go, your middle name's Dwayne? That's really weird. My dad's first name. What do you want?
Yeah. I mean, that's normal compared to my middle name is Delbert.
Oh, John Delbert?
Yeah. It's very my Arkansas family name there.
Man, maybe you should go with that so that I don't mix you and your brother's names up all the time. Do it for me.
Yeah. So and now these guys are going to have this argument that goes all the way back to Giant Size 1.
Yep.
And our Weapon Alpha, man, I hate calling him Weapon Alpha. Like, I just want to call him Guardian or Vindicator or like one of his later names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, only has 17 of them. Just call him Captain Canuck. That's what I do.
Yeah, the Canuck here. Vacation's over, Wolverine. Control doesn't know what you've been doing in the States, and they really don't care. They just want you back. And as we remember, and Wolverine reminds him, I resigned, Jimmy boy.
Yeah. You
were there when I sliced Chasen's tie. I'm a free agent, and I like it. So, So our Hudson here, he was in the room when Wolverine cut that guy's tie and split from his CIA, outfit in Canada. but somehow the Canadians think that like they own him.
Yeah.
Own Wolverine or something, and they're just gonna get him back somehow. And
well, they did put a lot of money into him, I guess.
Yes. Well, yeah, we don't know that yet, though.
No, we don't.
Yeah. And it's nice here where he's like, I resigned, Jimmy boy. So like he you already get the sense that Wolverine knows who he is.
Yeah.
For sure. And so we get all this. Their banter is great because it's like it's like backstory. It's these guys that have known each other for a long time and have got long-standing beefs.
Yes.
Right?
Except for they keep talking about how they're friends.
You get the sense that that's how, if you're friends with Wolverine, it means, you've survived knowing him for a long time and you've got beef with him.
Right.
Right? You always were a royal pain in the butt, Logan. Short and arrogant and feisty is your namesake. And see, he calls him Logan. So, because as of now, the X-Men don't know that his name is Logan.
That's right.
But this guy does.
He has mentioned it before, but the X-Men don't know that yet.
Yeah. And you think you're man enough to teach him to me, huh, Jimmy? And he pops his claws, and Wolverine gives him a big slice here, and we see this nice energy kind of power up around Guardian here.
Byrne is good at handling the ears, I will say, because those are weird to draw at angles, at funny angles.
Yeah. Yeah. He keeps them nice and crisp.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to think about wrapping around,
Yep. And Wolverine gets a good hit in, but it doesn't really do any damage.
No, he's got it. Yeah, he's got his what is it called?
His
force shield. Yeah, he threw his force shield up.
Mm-hmm. And Guardian gives him a great punch right across the face there.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't knock him out, so then Wolverine's coming back. So now we get a little thing that so whatever this power suit is, it's a new thing.
Right.
Because Wolverine's thinking to himself, hey, despite our size difference, I was always better at everything than Jimmy. But that glowing suit he's wearing, and then he's like, oh, cripes, you can fly? And so
it's
he's got
the ultimate
battle
product of the Canadian technology.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Yeah. That's what them Canadians are known for.
Yep.
That ultimate battle kind of battle technology. And Wolverine's still mouthing off to him like, yeah, you're talking tough, come and prove it. But then he's thinking to himself, how come I got a feeling he's just toying with me? And if he cuts loose full strength, I'm going to hurt.
Yeah, look at that last panel. That's a very strange drawing. It looks like he's like they're like merging together into a four-legged man with no torso.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting way of, sort of foreshortening the legs and just having that collision go off to where you can't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting. He tried something, and I don't know that it was that successful, but
yeah,
give him credit for giving it a shot. How about that?
Yeah. And so now we're going to cut back to a few miles away. Here's the rest of the group at their picnic. Banshee and Moira having fun in the out here in the water. And Storm and Colossus just kind of chatting it up. And this is where, we looked at that issue of Classic where there's the swimming pool scene and Storm swimming naked in the pool, and Nightcrawler teleports in, and everybody freaks out.
Right.
So this is why they added that. Because right here in this issue, they're having this conversation, and she's mentioning, I wish I didn't have to wear this absurd bathing suit.
Yes.
And Colossus says, well, you remember what happened when you went swimming in the mansion's pool.
Yeah.
So, he's already, like, the conversation, like, that's all you really need. It already lets you know that, oh, she was probably, she was swimming in the buff, and it caused the disturbance at the school.
Yep.
And so that's why they put it in.
Yes.
Like, to let you see it, even though, like, maybe you didn't need to. But that's why it's there, yeah. But it's a good, Banshee's getting dunked in the background. That's good. By Moira.
Mm-hmm.
She's got good swimming skills to go along with her machine gun skills.
Yeah, exactly.
So Storm's mentioning that, well, hey, this America where they're at has different taboos, different customs than her homeland.
Yeah. And
then she wants to know where Colossus is from. And it's a good little bit here. Colossus is talking about, well, it's kind of empty. It's just this massive space.
Mm-hmm.
And in the summer it's beautiful, but in winter it's awesome.
Right.
And like when he says that, man, all I can think of is Rocky IV training in the cabin in the snow in Russia,
Yeah.
Just out in the snow drifts, log on his shoulders.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When do they stop this flirtatious thing between the two of them? It's probably coming up pretty quick. They just kind of give up on it, right?
Yeah, it just kind of gradually in the writing, it just kind of becomes that they're just like really good friends.
Got it. Okay.
It never actually develops into any kind of a romance at all. Whether maybe they got to a point where they're like, well, we don't want to have any of the X-Men. Well, any more of the X-Men like romantically entangled because we don't have the space to like deal with that, know?
Sure.
Which I would understand, because you got all these other characters that have, like Banshee and Moira are in a relationship, and all the Scott and Jean stuff is just like, it's so much drama all the time.
Yeah. Right.
Like you don't have space for another couple.
Yeah, and you're already starting to wiggle Wolverine into that triangle. So
yeah, he's trying to weasel his way in. You got Nightcrawler going on dates.
You got Professor X and the Bird Lady.
Yeah. So now, the professor's got a gal. Like, there's no space for romance for these guys right now. And so she's like, well, someday my friend, she'd like to see it. And so they're having this nice time, and then all of a sudden, here comes Wolverine, just like he got blasted and just right into this tree, and the party's over.
Knocked out.
Shree wham. This is a really nice drawings here, though. Like, just like chilling on a blanket under a tree. Like it seems like very natural poses.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and like that one with the foreground, the foreground of Colossus and midground with Storm, and then you got them playing in the water. It's really good panel choices.
Yeah, really nice setup. And it just adds nice. So Storm's running over to look at Wolverine. She's like, he's unconscious. And Colossus is like, look after him. I'm going to face off with whoever did this. And our Canuck here, now he's all like, oh, of all the lousy breaks, witnesses.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they know who Wolverine is.
Mm-hmm.
So he tries to get him to back off and says, hey, stay out of this, people. My business is with Weapon X. Official Canadian business.
That's right.
Stand down. And Colossus is like, well, hey, Wolverine is our friend. Which, he's actually calling Wolverine a friend here. They haven't exactly been on best of terms up to this point.
Well, teammates, they've been working together. Just because they're not saying that they have any affection towards each other doesn't mean that they don't, right?
Yeah, it's like tough love. It's like tough brotherly love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he's like, you got to go through me first. And Weapon Alpha is like, your funeral. But in his mind, he's like, who is this bruiser?
Yeah.
His accent sounds Russian. And we get this interesting 3-panel Colossus in punch motion and transforming mid-punch.
Yeah.
Great looking Colossus here when he's full metal.
Yeah, it's cool. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then he just decks James McDonald Hudson.
Ooh.
Right.
Your mom must be mad. She's using your full name.
Yeah. Right through a tree. And now he's like, oh my God, that guy turned into a man of steel. You got to fight on your hands. So he's going to try and pick up this tree and use it, to hit Colossus. And Storm's like, I don't think so. And she just like zaps the tree with lightning.
Yeah.
And so again, he's like, what's going on? Her hands, she's blasting that tree trunk to cinders.
I like that panel of him blasting with the hands there.
Yeah.
He uses the razor blade technique for the blast there. You see the dashing of the rays that go out.
Yeah.
And then he, in every other panel, he's put his face in black there. But, since it's bright, he just really, flushes it with light there. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And this is where, we get sort of, I guess this is sort of our first look at, like, he's got these like energy beams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Colossus is going to shield Storm, but the beam skazang bounces off Colossus and hits Moira in the head.
Oh, ouch.
Wow. Cool panel. Like, I like the layout here. I like the way your sound effect is coming. It's like upside down
and backwards. Yeah, it's great.
And then turns a corner.
Yep.
Makes that sharp turn with the beam. Really good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a really good panel.
Yeah, and you really feel it because you're like, oh, well, Moira, she's a regular human.
Yeah.
She just got hit in the head with this beam.
Right.
So you kind of, as the reader, you're freaking out just like Banshee's freaking out. He's like, Moira.
Oh yeah.
Moira. Yeah, I can't do my Irish accent well enough to yell that and sound.
That's okay.
Dang it. Sorry to all our listeners and watchers. But she falls into the water after getting blasted in the head.
Oh yeah, he's pissed here.
Yeah. And so he gets her out, but she's out cold and she's got a burn across her forehead. She might have a concussion. And the Banshee is angry. And ye, Major Maple Leaf, or whatever you call yourself, you're the man responsible. I'm going to make you pay. Look at this psychotic Banshee.
Yeah, look at that. I made a note of that. Look at his face. He's got like spit, like in his mouth, and his eyes are white, and he's just like ferocious here. And this is he's screaming here. He's managed to show a panel of him screaming without making it look, weird. No one's done it yet.
Yeah, there's nothing coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And our Major Maple Leaf here, he recognizes Banshee from Interpol flyers and things.
Yeah.
From Banshee's past. And look at this beam here. and it's
Yeah,
just
that's great.
liquefying the ground,
That is
basically,
great.
with so much
He is
energy.
yeah.
And yeah,
He's gonna lose his voice now. Isn't that what
yeah,
happened last time he had to scream too loud?
yeah, and he almost lost his voice.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
wonder if this is going to cost him. Yeah, and so now he's like, I don't know if my suit can cope with that much tightly concentrated punishment.
Woo!
So he is out of here. It's too much. Yeah, and so he goes out, and then he kind of gets basically teleported away. But he thinks to himself, but next time, to equalize the odds, I'll bring Alpha Flight with me.
Oh man.
Dun, dun, dun. And just like that, he's gone.
Pop.
And now they got to get down here to get Moira and get her some medical attention.
So they don't know if he cloaked himself or if he teleported. So Storm whips up a little energy there, a little storm there to kind of knock him out if he's there. But then they figure that he must have just disappeared.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, cool little technique by Storm to try and figure out if he's still there. And Colossus is like, Wolverine, that man spoke like he knew you. Who is he? Why is he after you? And Wolverine, great Wolverine shot here in the foreground.
Love it.
Looking at
the coloring is great on that.
Yeah. Once upon a time, Petey, we were buddies, almost brothers. I'm real sorry, folks, but today's fracas was just the beginning. And from here on in, things are going to get worse. Because Wolverine's past is coming to get him.
Dang.
Yep. Next issue, Shadow of the Gun.
Wow, that was a great issue.
Yeah, this is sort of our first finally getting some Wolverine development. Cool backstory connecting to his Canadian roots. We get this weird Canadian guy.
I feel like anybody else, they could have just had a conversation, but these guys just tried to destroy each other. So,
yeah.
Let's take a look here at the classic X-Men version, because the story doesn't end here with that, and you can see this Wolverine drawing isn't as great if it's not colored the way that it was in yours, which is interesting to show how
that it's also.
Yes, there's a couple of things
more,
like that.
The panel's bigger too.
Yes,
like
look
how much is added, either added or cut off here. It has to be added.
There's that. Yep.
Like you don't see Colossus's legs in the original.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know how they ended up doing that, how they fixed that. But you get this extra page here where he blips back over into Canada, and basically he's he's like, he's a little weary of everything, and worried that he's not going to be as good of a leader. But he talks about how he created Alpha Flight, and so it's his job to run it now. But he thinks that Wolverine was better, and then he just kind of comes home to his wife like he's just a regular like salary man, coming home. And then if I flip back to the beginning, actually, if we look at the very first page of your copy, there's not this establishing shot. You have the intro thing there, and all the indicia is gone from here. It's moved over to this side, which is interesting. I thought that was kind of cool.
What's it say in that top panel?
It says
what's it talking about?
It says in the Westchester County Township of Salem Center, roughly 40 miles from New York City, can be found Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. That's all it says. It's just an establishing shot.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we already took a look at this Art Adams one, and then you get this cool Art Adams Wolverine. I always love the way that he draws Wolverine standing in the forest. And then let's see here, page 6 of the first page.
Can I say that on the classic X-Men's, like Adams's covers are great, but I almost enjoy his little images on the inside of the covers more.
Agreed.
Like they're really terrific little shots of characters.
Yeah,
like that's great with the woods, the way he's drawing them.
Yep.
Awesome.
I love them too. They're always a little bit more intricate, they seem too. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then so for this page, you get Guardian wants him back as the leader of Alpha Flight. And then he says his thing. He's like, I always envied your brute berserker courage, and you always seem more of a man than every man around you. A throwback to a younger, rougher, more vital age. So he's like crushing on Wolverine here.
Yeah, he's like you're like Steve McQueen, bro. And
yeah, totally. And then here he is just like taking on a tank, like cutting through a tank and all this stuff, and and then you get this page where
we get some Lilandra stuff.
Yeah, and these pages are kind of goofy. She talks about how she has 2 hearts, which is kind of weird. And then she talks about, her how her people were birds and they gave up flight for intelligence. And she talks about how weird it is that we don't humans have like static pictures, that if you want to see something different, you have to physically change it. So she's like talking about how we're not sophisticated enough to have screensavers yet.
Yeah.
Basically. I thought that was pretty great. It's a weird page. Who drew this? Let's see who drew this. Oh, Kieran Dwyer drew these.
Oh, young Kieran Dwyer.
A young Kieran Dwyer. So you can tell that they're young because I don't think today you would ever have 3 figures the same size on a page. It's kind of a pro no a lot of the times. And then this one, this is let's see here. What else did this say? Oh, she talks about the Kree and the Skrulls and how they're interested in the humans because they're the 2 spacefaring imperial civilizations, and right. No wonder they're interested in the humans, because for as young of a civilization as we are, we're very advanced, even though we don't have screensavers yet. And then here she's like, what is this? Oh my gosh, like an actual water shower. How quaint and primitive and weird. So she's getting freaked out by that. Oh yeah, it's weird. She talks about how like she and Charles haven't had much of a chance to get to know one another yet, which I thought was weird, because before this they talk about how, I guess it was in a classic X-Men story, how they know each other so much because their minds kind of melded together. And that's why they love each other, and why they fell in love with each other without even meeting, is because their minds meshed to where they were like one. So it's weird that she says that she hasn't gotten a chance to really know him yet in this classic X-Men issue.
Like a mind link, even super intimate, it's still not the same as like physically being in the room with somebody.
That is true.
It's a weird. It's got to be a weird kind of just different sensation and stuff.
Sure, yeah. So she gets soaked here, and Charles comes up and is like, I sensed that you were wet. And so,
whoa!
Brings her some towels, and they kind of get it on. So,
His senses are on target.
Totally. And then you get this backup story from John Bolton that you always get in these ones. This one is from about Banshee in his young days, and it talks about how Northern Ireland and mainland island, I don't know, I guess you'd call it, split. And how he is like going to a concert up in Derry, and he gets stopped by these cops, and this guy, this detective or whatever he is, a sergeant, is a real dick, and is trying to like say, hey, that's not why you were going up there. You were going up there to plant bombs, weren't you? I can sense it. You're blah blah blah. It's like he said, I was just going up to Derry to see a concert. He says, you call it Londonderry, you know, show some respect, because you know it's, you know, part of the UK up there. And so he's like, no. And so they want to take him in, and all of a sudden this motorcycle comes, knocks them down, and he hops on the back of it, and they take off. And you know, they chase him. One of the squad cars flips. This cop starts shooting at them, just like crazy. Like, where are you, America? And then they kind of fall off this cliff, and they're going to fall into the water and die. But Banshee grabs this mystery rider and pulls them to safety, and they take off their helmet, and he's like, what? You're a girl? Crazy. And so he like starts to like really like this girl at this point, brings him back to the keep, and a young Black Tom comes out.
Oh.
And is like, hey, nice to meet you. And he's trying to make moves on her. And then you get these like these pages of where like, I guess they're kind of like both start dating her. It's kind of weird. And then he is you know, getting ready. They're gonna go on this big date. And Banshee gets on his motorcycle and starts driving, and the cop spots him and runs him off the road, and he gets all messed up and has to be put in bed. Meanwhile, Tom is like, oh, I'm going to help you, and gets dressed and goes and picks her up and goes on the date with her instead while he's in there. But
what a dick move.
But then Tom is like, I can't do this to my cousin. It's not right. I tried to take advantage of this situation where he's messed up to, you know, I was hoping that you would like me better, and that's not right. And she leaves, you know, and is like, I could never, you know, not be friends with you. But, you know, basically that was a dick move. Kind of an odd little story. And I don't know who this Maeve woman is. Maybe we see her later, but
I have a thought on who it is, but we'll save it, because I think there's some more classic X-Men backups where she shows up with Banshee.
Okay.
I think if I'm not imagining it. But look at that Black Tom. He's not evil. He's just misunderstood.
That's right.
He's a good guy at heart.
Yeah. When he second guesses himself.
Yeah. Oh, man, but, I mean, that's a great looking little backup. I mean, we've said it before on this show. A young Banshee series would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be a fun one.
You know?
Yeah. Maybe we'll get it one day. But there we have it, folks. Issue 109 of the all new, all different, still bi-monthly X-Men.
Still bi-monthly.
How long until we go regular? It's a while, right? Before we go monthly?
Yes. It's coming up though.
Oh, okay.
It's coming up.
All right. Next week we got
X-Men 110.
Yep, we got a fill-in issue. We'll take a look at that real soon. If you're reading the classic X-Men issues, this is not reprinted in them, so you're going to have to find it somewhere else. But
got to get the original. Get your 35 cents out and go to the store.
Get your shiny nickel bag. All right. Well, that was a good one. So until next week, John, where can they find your stuff?
My comics are on dinobeast.com, And I'm on the Instagram at JD Coates.
Nice. All right. And you all know where to find me. Stay tuned for a speed drawing of the thumbnail. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else, plus score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commission delivered right to your door, and reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.